All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Natalic Pro League number 4. We are here in the finals. Mouz versus Virtus Pro, the creme de la creme. Game 3 of a best-of-3 series. Doesn't get much better than this. I'm Zyori. With me again is Hippie. Thank you so much for joining us on Dota Radio, folks. So glad to see more of you tuning in to our audio-only style of commentary and enjoying this fabulous series. It's been very back and forth. Mouz Sports, well, they had an edge in game number 2. Virtus Pro able to bring it back with their superior Luna farming, and we'll see how they fare in this last match. It's been an interesting series, though. Thoughts coming into this, Hippie?
I think Mouz needs to draft a little more stable. When they drafted kind of a stable lineup that was sort of equivalent in its late game potential in game 1 as compared to Virtus Pro, their very aggressive play that scored them a lot of kills got them an edge that they rode into the late game, even though they made a couple of mistakes along the way. Game 2, when they drafted a very aggressive early game lineup against a decent farming lineup of VP, all the aggression in the world that they didn't manage to capitalize on couldn't get them anywhere. Just game 2 was I never really had a lot of doubt that VP was going to win it, quite frankly. Even though there was all that craziness going on, I just never felt like Mouz was getting enough done.
There was like a window where Mouz was doing so well. They had a huge edge. They obviously won that tri lane, and it was right. I can picture the time I had.
They never did anything with it.
Yeah, when everyone was in the jungle, I'm like, all right, they're farming right now, but they're on thin ice. They really need to get some towers, deliver that crippling blow, and it just never came. It was almost like they didn't really care that Luna had a hand of Midas free farming in the jungle. And I thought they understood well, because they had that Luna kill like right away. The second the Midas was delivered, before he could even use it, they killed Luna. And I'm like, yes, look at this. They understand the math behind Midas. Every time that you deny the use of that item and it gets stuck off cooldown while you're in the grave, that's good. That's money in the bank for you guys. And that was the only time they did it, so that was a bit of a bummer. But let's take a look at this draft here. Virtus Pro going to take out Lich and the Furion with their first 2 bans. Darkseer and Lifestealer are going to be the first 2 bans coming out from Mouz Sports. That will open up for an Elder Titan first pick for Mouz Sports. And wow, Virtus Pro, they grab the Vengeful Spirit with their second pick, but a first pick Shadow Fiend. Fascinating.
Well, I think they've been trying to get this sort of heavy minus armor lineup for several games. You've noticed they've always picked heroes with really good minus armor. They picked the Venge last game. They picked the Slardar in game 1. The Venge got banned out, as well as the Shadow Fiend in game 1 by Mouz Sports. This is something that Virtus Pro likes to utilize, is a whole crap load of the AoE minus armor.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just stack up some physical damage. The Shadow Fiend, of course, can farm up very, very quickly. He's gonna need a lot of pressure, and this is the thing: is picking him very early does leave you kind of vulnerable. You can not only pick someone who does really well against him mid, of which there are several who can do very, very well against the Shadow Fiend, but you also leave Mouz some room to pick some very strong ganking heroes, of which Crystal Maiden is one of them. It's very easy for her to just smoke rotate him in and kill the Shadow Fiend if there's any sort of strong laner put up against him.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems. Exactly right. He is very counterable with picks. Shadow Fiend, one of those heroes, like many others, for what you have in one department, you lose in another. And he has great burst, great farming mechanisms, all that good stuff, but he's just so susceptible to early ganks. No escape mechanism, no way to mitigate incoming damage. He is a glass cannon, and that's what his body is made of. So usually that first pick can be a little sketchy, and that makes me wonder, is Virtus Pro going to put him in a tri lane and then grab a curveball mid 5th pick or something like that? That is one thing that you can do. Pick the Shadow Fiend first, try and bait your opposition into picking someone to counter the Shadow Fiend, and then, do something different in the end. But let's take a look at these next bans here. Virtus Pro, their 3rd and 4th bans, going to take out the Pugna as well as the Mirana, and Mouz Esports going to take out Doom as well as Visage with their 3rd and 4th bans. But Virtus Pro going to go ahead and 3rd pick the Naga Siren, so we can really see that minus armor synergy stacking up here. You've got the Riptide for a little bit of minus armor, the Vengeful Aura for some damage, and the Wave of Terror, then the presence of the Dark Lord. Already, that is an absurd amount of minus armor. So, and not bad either. This is one of these great rosters where, yeah, they have that synergy, but they're also really powerful heroes. These aren't crazy, out-of-the-blue curveball picks. We've seen Venge in the series, Naga, always a good pick, and Shadow Fiend, perfectly viable. So I like the way this draft is setting up for Virtus Pro already. Clear synergy, but still open-ended with what they want to do with those last picks.
Yeah, even just Naga and Shadow Fiend alone is a pretty nice combo. You can get the nice setup. If anyone's kind of caught close to each other, get the Shadow Fiend time to position for the Requiem. There's no time to interrupt him if you time the Naga ultimate turn off properly. And one of the nice things about all three of these heroes is, yeah, sure, one of their skills is minus armor. They bring it all to the table. There's going to be some great physical damage coming out on these teams. But they all have a lot of other really viable stuff. Obviously, Shadow Fiend flash farming, Shadow Fiend getting plenty of damage, the Shadow Raise damage. There's a lot of great reason to have a Shadow Fiend. The Vengeful Spirit Stun is a fantastic early ganking spell. The Naga Siren Net, the Naga Siren Song, the Vengeful Swap. There's just a million great things these guys do that if you look at their skill sets, the minus armor part of it is like secondary or tertiary. But when you have them all together with all these great skill sets, of course it synergizes so very well.
Yeah, so we'll see. I see someone in chat talking about, I see a Slardar pick coming, and that is what I would think as well at face value, but I don't even know if they need it.
So.
They've got plenty of minus armor already. I think Slardar would be overkill. I mean, they certainly could pick Slardar. There's not a reason that they couldn't, but I don't know. That's like almost too much minus armor where you can't even capitalize on it. The diminishing returns effect, almost, if you will. But Mouse Sports spent a lot of bonus time deliberating what they want to do with that third pick, and they're going to grab an Invoker. So I like this kind of open-ended choice as well, and I think Invoker should be able to fare pretty nicely against that Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, Cold Snap will really ruin Shadow Fiend's day, and if you do just a 1-point Exort with some decent bonus damage at level 1, you can outlast it the Shadow Fiend just reasonably easily until he gets a decent chunk of souls to deal with you.
Yeah. So a nice open-ended pick here. And Invoker is a solid hero in general. A nice one in terms of being able to call that audible. And we've seen, Invoker in like a solo safe lane kind of a scenario as well. You can always put Elder Titan mid. So as I was mentioning about that Virtus Pro roster, they could be trying to do an old switcheroo with that Shadow Fiend in a tri-lane with Venge and Naga and then grab a mid hero last. And Mousesport's opening up themselves to have that versatility where, hey, they could put Elder Titan mid if they wanted. They could put Invoker mid if they needed to. And, of course, you can always offlane that Elder Titan as well. So still a lot of options available. One hero that has gotten no touching in this particular series is Bounty Hunter. He has not been banned or picked yet. And he's just so strong in 6.79. I'm a little surprised that neither side has put any faith in the power of the Bounty Hunter. But Virtus Pro are going to grab Timbersaw with their fourth pick here.
Well, Bounty Hunter can be very, very strong. I mean, partially because it's an aggressive metagame, partially because he's very strong against dedicated junglers. Of course, we know that he's very, very good at harassing them. It's easy for him to get that kind of experience. But if you're not focusing largely on getting good kills, I mean, either of these teams could probably fit him in if they really wanted to. But sometimes there's more stuff you want. Sometimes you want a little more AoE presence. Sometimes you want a little more mobility. Sometimes you want a little more lockdown. Than Bounty Hunter provides you. Yeah. So I don't think either of these teams have been, hugely. I don't think anyone's been wrong in not drafting Bounty Hunter.
That's a fair point.
They've always had a very good reason for drafting other things.
Yeah. I need to change my mindset. After what No-Tail said this morning about how right now since 6.79, drafting is more about countering what the other team likes to play more so than, banning or picking truly imbalanced heroes, whereas 6.78 there was that pool of 6 heroes that were first ban, first pick, and those were the heroes you needed to win the game. And now things with the meta kind of still up in the air a little bit. It's not just about, okay, who are the OP heroes? All right, let's just pick Bounty Hunter every game because he's good. It's more about, does our roster work with Bounty Hunter? That's what makes him powerful. He's not just this innate beast that destroys worlds. I gotta get that out of my vocabulary. I was just like, oh, fascinating. They didn't pick this really awesome hero. Well, yeah, dipshit, because their roster sucks with it. It's just a difference in mindset. I haven't gotten used to it yet. 6.79 still feels new to me.
It's alright, he's still actually pickable for Virtus Pro if they wanted the Timbersaw mid and the Shadow Fiend to tri-line. Well, now there's a Chen.
Yeah.
Now there's a Chen, and you can really mess with a Chen with a Bounty Hunter.
Fair enough.
So now it's not just, we have a Bounty Hunter. Now it's, okay, we have a Bounty Hunter, and he has a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Having those junglers. Oh, it's going to be the Shadow Shaman. Okay, interesting. So
that's going to be the mid then. It is going to be that tri-lane Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, so offlane Timbersaw, Shadow Shaman mid. I'm so glad we're going to get to see this because we mentioned at it, we've hinted that this is something they've been doing. And I don't think we've casted a game where we've gotten to see a mid Shadow Shaman. This is a throwback, man. Speaking of No-Tail, to me, Shadow Shaman mid is like No-Tail from Han 3 years ago. That's where my mind goes, straight away, maybe 2 years ago, what have you. So this is awesome. I like seeing Shadow Shaman in that driving role rather than in that kind of backseat support. So this is going to be exciting for us here. Shadow Shaman, Timbersaw, Naga Siren, Vengeful Spirit, and Shadow Fiend going to be the final roster for Virtus Pro. So a lot of synergy there. And Shadow Shaman, if I'm not mistaken, his ultimate does physical damage, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's auto attack.
Right, it's auto attack. So that synergizes even better with this minus armor action.
Yes.
So really a solid pick right here. Mouse Sport's going to take their time, but they're going to grab a Morphling 5th pick to go with their Chen, Invoker, Crystal Maiden, and Elder Titan. Now, interesting. We haven't seen a Morphling in a while. I like it. Huh.
Okay, I like it for several good reasons. If I'm fairly sure you can waveform out of the net, which is a pretty big deal right there.
Okay.
He's incredibly hard to bring down, even with the nerfs that he suffered a while back. He's hard to bring down. He actually just got a shift rate bonus to his morph, so it didn't actually increase the shift rate, but it ticks faster.
Oh, okay.
So he can morph between strength and agility more effectively. So now he can tank up a little bit more effectively from the morph. Obviously, the replicate allows him to be a split pusher or a farmer for a while. And if you look at everyone on the other team, okay, Naga Siren, Shadow Fiend. Oh no, it isn't actually. It looks like it's going to be a tri-lane.
But who?
Blow Your Brain is going to be on a farming Venge.
A carry Venge. Yeah, this is not going to go the way we thought.
Vengeful Spirit.
But
okay,
it's equally ridiculous.
I gotta finish this real quick.
Yeah.
So if you look at you have the Naga Siren, the Shadow Fiend, you have the Vengeful Spirit, and the Shadow Shaman. All of those are people that will blow up if he gets an early shotgun. And the shotgun will just annihilate the series. And even Timbersaw isn't really that amazing against the shotgun because he mostly tanks against physical damage.
Right, the
He doesn't have
armor.
the world's best strength gain. He only has 2.1 strength gain, in fact. So you can get a whole lot of work done with the Morphling shotgun. I think that's going to be a very, very likely build we'll see coming out of Link right here.
So this is really fascinating. Let's go ahead and introduce our rosters here, and then we're going to talk about this top lane, tri-lane with the farming Venge. This is really fascinating. On the Dire side, we do have Team Virtus Pro and Light of Heaven going to be playing on the Timbersaw. Bottom long lane on that Timbersaw. In the mid, looks like it is going to be God, solo Shadow Fiend. Not too surprised to see God in the mid, but with this interesting draft, we were a little bit curious. NS going to be playing the Naga Siren. Right now, rotating towards that bottom lane, but very well may head back to the top once this early phase settles down here. May just be a roaming Naga. Did go for Riptide level 1, so not going to have that ensnare to try and set up some sort of a super aggressive gank. Blow Your Brain going to be in the top lane on the Vengeful Spirit. Now, if you haven't been paying attention this series, Blow Your Brain is indeed the stand-in that has been playing that position 1 role for Virtus Pro. So this will no doubt be a farming Vengeful Spirit, and right now Arzart going to be the one playing on the Shadow Fiend. Did grab that 0/0 rune, which is an invisibility, and is up in the top here, ready to try and make something happen. On the Radiant side, we do have Mouz Esports. Ace going to be in the top lane on that Elder Titan. Solo long lane. Right now, Cinderin on the Crystal Maiden yet again in the mid right now, but we'll see where he ends up. Crit going to be playing on that Invoker, is mid at the moment against God. Looks like they are going to be solo. And whoa, pardon me, I missed the first blood. Never a good way to start a game, but they're going to be able to grab it on that Elder Titan. The Shadow Shaman as well as the Vengeful Spirit able to make it happen. I saw that Arzar was invisible, and I thought they may try to engage, but honestly, I just didn't think they'd have the damage to do it at level 1, but alas, they did.
It's a very long stun when you combine the Venge stun with the shackles.
With the shackle, yeah, 2.5 at level 1. It's pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically, you had a stun as soon as the Elder Titan moved up. There was some body blocking going on from Arzart, and then when he finally lost the body block was when they dropped the shackles on him, and it was a very simple kill. Yeah. Nothing particular, nothing to be hugely excited about. So, don't worry about it.
My apologies, folks. I underestimated the power of the Shadow Shaman Venge combo here at the early levels. I had Elder Titan checked off as a tanky hero in my book. Yep, God going to be in some trouble here. Whoa, in comes Rise, and that's going to be an easy setup there with the Ensnare. Crit going to be able to follow up with an easy Sunstrike following that. I'm still trying to introduce these damn rosters here. In the bottom lane, Link going to be playing on the solo Morphling, farming away right now, and I think we're missing one. That is going to be Rise on the Chen. We just saw him make his debut in the mid with a nice gank rotation, so that's going to be tied up 1-1 here. Shadow Fiend has fallen for Virtus Pro, and of course the Elder Titan was the first to go down. And who got that bit of bonus gold? It was actually the Venge, so that is really good news. The farming Venge going to be the one to get that bit of bonus gold. I'm going to be curious to see how he builds Venge in this match. Right now, level 3, 2 points in Magic Missile, 1 in Wave of Terror. I swear to God, if I miss another kill in this match, it's the inverse snowball effect here. They're going to be able to kill the Invoker. 2-1 here, Virtus Pro taking the lead. I wish we could just trade and you could do camera for this match. I'm all off my... I'm out of my element here.
Sorry, man. I'm actually completely exhausted. I would not be a good cameraman right now.
Yeah, me too. I'm
Yeah,
at the same point where it's like, the hungries are starting to kick in a little bit. I need some food in my tummy, and oh god, all right, I'm not going to miss this one. Ace going to be in trouble here. The Radiant Tier 1, he's going to take the Magic Missile. Jesus, his health just evaporating. This Venge hit so hard. Magic Missile opener, the Wave of Terror to follow up, and that alone did a big chunk of his health. Arzart comes in as well as NS, and this Elder Titan not off to a good start in this match. Now going to be 3-1. Virtus Pro off to the races.
Yeah, never forget the 200 damage on that level 2 Ether Shock. That's another one of those abilities that scales up, or it starts actually very, very high and just doesn't scale up nearly as quickly.
Wow, you're right. 140 at level 1.
Yep.
Holy crap.
Yep. It's just only the one target because it scales up more in that way. And we have another.
Man, I caught that one.
Invoker.
And that was a dead Shadow Fiend.
Or excuse me, a Shadow Fiend killed by the Invoker is what I meant. But it's so easy to land those Sunstrikes. I mean, you get a net.
Yeah.
You drop the Sunstrike.
Rinse and repeat.
He's pretty much dead just from there. Shadow Fiend does not have a whole crap load of health.
Yeah.
Even with just the level 3 Exort, you have 225 pure damage on that Sunstrike. So that's a third of God's health. Plus your Invoker swinging for 90. You have the Forged Spirit melting his armor and swinging for 47 all on its own. If you can get a Cold Snap off, just like he's gotten right here. Is he going to get the kill right here? This Sunstrike going out. Is it going to tag? No! Not quite. Sunstrike landing just inches from God right there.
That was so close. That played with my heart a little bit. I had that like jumping off the high dive feeling, like, oh, it was so close yet so far. So, yeah, Shadow Fiend definitely struggling a little bit in the mid lane here. He's keeping up last hit for last hit with this Invoker, 13, 14 apiece, but, those 2 deaths really going to work against him here. Still going to have plenty of time to recover. That is one great thing about Shadow Fiend. Although susceptible to those early ganks, he is a flash farmer to every extent of the definition, so he will be able to make some recovery, no doubt. Light of Heaven been doing pretty well in the bottom lane down here, but not denying too much farm from that Morphling, though, of course, holding his own. Cinderin has been rotating around in the jungle, but Morphling is actually leading the way in last hits right now, 27 and 8 on the last hit chart. Up in the top lane, Ace going to be in some trouble again. NS going to come in on the Naga. Now Arzart going to come with a Shackle. He does have an Ether Shock ready. I don't know if they're going to have the damage. There's the Ether Shock. Ace actually going to turn here, going to try to finish off NS. Arzart wants to try and make it happen. I see a Sunstrike. I heard a Sunstrike actually, but not going to connect. Arzart very low. Will be able to survive. Yeah, Sunstrike not going to come out. So
it was going for NS because he assumed he was going to dodge into the side shop, so he kind of aimed it in the little path into the side shop, but it didn't go that way. He juked towards the dire jungle instead, then went to side shop to TP out.
Yeah. So a close call. I had that moment of paranoia where I was like, wait, which team is the Invoker on again? Is the Elder Titan going to die here, or is this going to be a dead Naga? That kind of another further sign that those 3 crackers I ate for breakfast are just not a satisfactory amount of nutrition. 3-2 here at the 5.5 minute mark, though. I worry about this Morphling. Right now, Link is he's not in free farm mode because he has to tango with this Light of Heaven, but Light of Heaven really unable to do much to slow down his farm, and he's not leading the way on the net worth chart. Venge still benefiting from those early kills, is the #1 farmer at 2.8k, but the other issue with that is even though Venge has a small advantage right now, I mean, Morphling is just a harder carry. With Morphling will go further with an equal amount of farm once you kind of get out of that early game burst damage that Venge can put out, especially depending on what item build he goes. We see Naga as well as Arzart on that Shadow Shaman smoked up. They were going to rotate to the top lane, but unfortunately for them, Ace going to back up just in time to survive, and that is going to be a 6-minute double damage rune now in the Bottle of God on that Shadow Fiend. So talk about recovery farm. That'll be good news for him, and the potential to perhaps set up a kill. We see these two, the Doom squad here, the Naga as well as the Shadow Shaman. They're going to go straight back to the top lane. Ace is ported back, and they are ready to make it happen. NS going to go straight in here. There's the Ensnare. Not even going to use the Ensnare. Just going to Riptide Magic Missile. I mean, his health just melted. NS! Oh, he's going to walk into the Sunstrike. All right, that one was on point, so that's going to make it at least a 1-for-1 Elder Titan for the Naga. Nicely played there by Crit to connect with that Sunstrike.
Yeah, I mean, something's got to happen. I mean, Ace is just feeding this top tri lane. I don't know what. Maybe he needs to fall back to the jungle or like try to lead some experience off Chen or something, but he can't keep feeding up there.
Oh,
we do have God. It's definitely going to go down the mid lane. Cold Snap plus Chen Creeps plus people coming in. Cinderin almost going to go down to that tower hit. To those tower hits right there, but doesn't quite take enough damage for that. Now, Hand of Midas picked up on the Invoker. That's a reasonably quick Hand of Midas for an Invoker since he's generally going other items first. He has Boots, Bottle, Null Talisman, and a Hand of Midas at 7.5 because he's 3-1-1 with 32 CS. And the big thing for the... Ooh, we might have Crystal Maiden almost in trouble right here. No, doesn't quite go down. Cinderin going low again. Probably going to have to fall back to base and come back out. He'll pick up his boots while he's there. But the big thing with Invoker with the Hand of Midas is not how much extra gold he's going to be getting, but he's going to be looking for creeps that are worth a whole bunch of extra experience. He needs to stack up those levels. Obviously, the more points he gets in his reagents, the more effective it is for him to be swapping between a bunch of different spells, the more different spells he can be casting at a high level instead of, oh, you know, my Exort's really high, but maybe my Wex is terrible, or my Quas isn't very good. So, you know, my Meteor does a lot of damage, but it doesn't really roll very far. I can't use EMP, which is a really good team fight spell because I don't have any points in Wex, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to remedy that with the Midas to get himself up to higher levels a lot more effectively.
Yeah. Absolutely right. And also, it's going to be a good pickup here because Mouz are a little light on the carry action. I mean, of course, they have the Morphling, but Invoker, one of those heroes that, although he's intelligence and a great early and mid-game hero, if he gets enough farm, if he gets that early Midas, he can transition into a carry. And it's very obvious here that Mouz are going to start building the Invoker that way so that he can play that carry role once they get into that mid to late game. And, you know, they don't want to fall into sort of that same trap they did in game 2 where they had such a great early game but not enough late game carry action. And here I worry more about Virtus Pro with this free farming Venge. Again, it's great. Venge is getting a lot of farm, but I worry about how sustainable it is. For me, at least, a little bit unprecedented. Since I started casting Dota again, I have not seen a carry Venge. So it's hard for me to estimate how well this is going to work out. You know, is she going to be that scary run away from Venge because those right clicks are too much? Or is it going to be, you know, in another 10 minutes, Venge will be just a support that has a good bit of farm. You know, time will tell. Right now, she does have Phase Boots, Ring of Basilius, has a Drum of Endurance as well as a Wraith Band in the bank. So, of course, going to have that Ring of Aquila once the Wraith Band comes her way. So, you know, great farm. Tied up 4-4 here as we start to approach the 10-minute mark. Is that going to be another kill on Ace? Indeed it will. Venge going to be able to use the swap, drop the full rotation. Arzart comes in. Poor Elder Titan. I agree with you, man. Elder Titan just needs to abandon this lane and just stop dying. Forget about trying to farm. Just stop dying. On the net worth chart right now, Elder Titan is 730. That is abysmal. But, oh, Light of Heaven now? Well-timed port. Going to take a Frostbite from Crystal Maiden, just going to port out of there before Chen can bring it around. No interrupt from the Morphling. Well played by him to survive. But, yeah, this Elder Titan is really the big problem here for Mouz at the moment.
Yeah, I really questioning Link's choice to not put a single point into Adaptive Strike right there. I get that, you know, you want to have the Morph for safety's sake, but you can get away with 1 point in Adaptive Strike to interrupt TPs. I think that's really a mistake on his skill build, quite frankly.
Yep. And again, same story, different chapter. Ace up top. He's going to go to that tier 1 tower. He's going to get dove on. Another full rotation from the Venge.
Link doing?
And Link going to come in. I don't know why he ported here. Not going to be able, not going to fall. I mean, Rasta actually does have an ult, so that could be a little bit scary. Venge completely dry, though. Link going to survive, but I'm not really sure why he ported up there. His buddy was already dead. Now Link just going to, is he going to go to the secret shop? Okay, maybe that makes a little more sense. He's going to finish up his Perseverance. I was going to say, is he just going to run back down to the bottom lane? Could have used the Courier, but okay. I don't want to be too cynical here. Link is a pro player for a reason. I'm not. But, yeah, it didn't seem like the most cost-effective TP right there. Oh, in the mid lane, tower gonna fall.
That's questionable to me. And yeah, it's hard to deal with a tower push coming in from both Chen and Invoker. You obviously have the Forge Spirits to help out, along with all of the Gen creeps. The Forge Spirits, with I believe it's 4 points in Exort right now. Yeah, it's 4 points in Exort, are swinging for 56 damage. Never underestimate how powerful those things are in the early game, especially against heroes, because of that Melt Armor. And he does now have the 4/4 Exort Quas, meaning he's going to get 2 of them for every spawn. So that's some very, very significant amounts of damage they put out. I mean, the math is pretty, like, a 4/4 set of Forge Spirits is more DPS than putting 8/8 Alacrity on someone.
Yeah.
They're so good. And,
you know, honestly, I just missed that kill on Ace in the top lane, because I keep thinking to myself, you know what? He's not going to go to this lane anymore. He must know this isn't going to work, and he just keeps doing it. Right now, Ace is 0-6-1, and I know how much we try to shy away from singling out players and being too negative, but Jesus Christ, man, he is 6 of the 7 deaths that they have on their team at the 12-minute mark. Like, what is happening here? Why does he keep going up top? And, like, those deaths not only feeding Venge, but just opening up, like, even easier pushing in this lane. If they don't know where he is and he's alive, they're going to be a little bit more hesitant. You know, you can port in to try and delay this push, but Rasta just going to drop the ult, and Ward's going to be able to take out the tier 2 tower in the top lane. So the tower count now going to be 2-1 in favor of Virtus Pro. They've taken out the tier 1 and tier 2 in the top and lost only their mid-tier 1. So even this team, like you said, hard to stop the pushing power of those Forge Spirits and Chen, but Virtus Pro actually finding the tower pushing advantage here at the 12.5-minute mark.
Yo, when you have a free lane, it's kind of hard to stop any push in the first place.
Like,
The ether shock damage coming in from the end. Ace just dead again.
Jesus, dude. Like, it's almost
The dude
like
just can't not die.
It's almost like he's forgotten that Vengeful Spirit has Nether Swap as an ultimate. I mean, you can't get near him. She's just going to swap you, drop the rotation, and at this point, he's only level 6 against
She's
the
farming
level
support items, by the way.
a level 11.
She's buying a
Venge.
mech.
Yep. Oh, there you go. So going to take that primary farm. Awesome. This is how I play Dazzle in pub games. I take the carries farm and then I turn into a support. This is exactly what I do with Dazzle. Different items maybe, but exactly what I do. I love it. Oh man, I really like this strategy from VP. I hope it works just so I can go into pub games and when people flame me, be like, no, I am blow your brain. He wins, I win. You know, be a meta warrior, but not.
I used to have a quote in my signature on a forum that said, just because a pro team did it doesn't mean it's a good idea. I would like to reiterate that to you right now.
It's true. That's a fair bit of advice, but the point I wanted to make here is I do really like this build. The idea of taking that farm
cool.
and transitioning. It's a good idea. It's a different take on our current meta, and we'll see how it works for him. But you know, having a pretty timely mech, having your support nice and farmed is good news. We did miss a kill in the bottom lane here. Seems to be the bane of my existence here in this match. And Mouz want to get aggressive. They've got a 4-man push down in the bottom lane. Invoker is not with them, and they did take out the Timbersaw. Now going to start pressuring this tier 1 tower. But Virtus Pro, they're not afraid to defend. Arzark does have an ultimate up. That's going to be another swap on the Morphling. He's going to get stuck in the tower. The ward trap going to come out, but he is just going to be able to waveform away. Not the best hero to use that trap on. Virtus Pro's Naga going to be able to use the ultimate. Now they're going to engage. Timbersaw going to be back in the mix. Morphling going to fall. Chen going to fall shortly after. Naga is going to get taken out as Invoker joins the mix. Does have those Forged Spirits out, but yeah, not going to work out too well for him here. Crit does have a Force Staff trying to make the great escape, but is this going to be a 5-for-1 exchange? Oh my god, I think it is. Crit in big trouble here, trying to micro the trees, through the trees, I should say. Light of Heaven not going to connect with the Chakram. Crit going to be able to get a Shadow Walk off, and may indeed be able to survive. Virtus Pro trying to hit everything they can blind, but not going to be able to connect, so... Wow, Mouz in big trouble here, though. Virtus Pro showing them they're not afraid to take a team fight. And Crit, he's going to come around the backside. That's going to be a cold snap on God. He is playing very bold right here. He's going to get sheeped, compliments of that Rasta. And yeah, Crit's going to fall. 2 ports going to come in. No, 3 ports, pardon me. Cinder and Rise and Ace all going to try to make it happen. But is this going to be one of those cases of kind of too little, too late, where we see the Astral Spirit doing a good bit of damage to Arzark, going to get him down to 50 hit points or so, but no follow-up damage. So that's going to be it. Again, Mouz going to fall into that trap where they burn really 3 ports for almost nothing right there.
Yeah, I mean, not only the 135 gold is significant, but just losing that map mobility for the next minute is just much, much, much more detrimental than some people realize sometimes. It frees people up to farm on the other side of the map, frees up the other lanes to be safe, especially when you have good ward coverage. The ward coverage isn't exactly ideal for watching this type of stuff from VP, but they do have some wards that will see if there's rotations coming out, and they don't have to worry about, you know, a TP gank. And Cinderin is just going to get annihilated right there by Blow Your Brain, who might be in trouble. He's got a lot of creeps around him from the Chen. The Invoker Sunstrike looks like it's going to be off the mark. Ace, however, going to be caught by more and more damage from the Timbersaw and the Naga Siren. That Elder Titan, man, he is now 1-9. This is not his game in the least, and it looks like the Chen creeps as well are going to go down to Light of Heaven and Blow Your Brain.
Yeah, and all the while, Shadow Fiend in the mid lane here, just going to casually take out that Tier 1 tower. We do see Morphling in the top, trying to, pressure the Virtus Pro Tier 1, but I don't know that he's going to be able to take it out here. Total tower count now is going to be 3-1 in favor of Virtus Pro on the dire side. And let's go ahead and take a look at the graph. Yeah, that's about what we expected. Virtus Pro leading by about 7,500 gold and 7,500 experience here at the 16.5-minute mark. It doesn't get much more significant than that. Morphling trying to push that tower. They're going to defend it. They're going to kill the Morphling and then deny the tower. You couldn't have hoped for a better exchange up there. All the while, Timbersaw going to push the Tier 1 in the bottom lane. So Virtus Pro just ripping apart Mouz really on every front at this point. Able to defend these towers, get a tower deny, and still set up these solo kills. Mouz is just crumpling at the seams, and this is really fascinating because in Game 1, it looked like Mouz was just going to steamroll the series. 15 minutes into Game 1, I was like, all right, this is going to be a quick 2-0. Game 2, all right, Virtus Pro was looking a little bit rough, and they were able to take it out in the late game. Like, okay, Virtus Pro is... I didn't give them enough credit. They did pretty well in that second game. Still, I think Mouz have been playing a lot better. And then looking at this third match, it's like the roles have reversed. Virtus Pro have just taken this game by the haunches, just absolutely dominating on really every front. They didn't have a lane that lost. I mean, their Shadow Fiends struggled a bit, but they made up for it by a significant factor in their other lanes. It's just been fascinating to watch this series shift in momentum to where Mouz basically taking an easy game 1, and now it's looking like Virtus Pro could be able to take an easy game 3. It's not over yet. They're not in the clear, but boy, a different Virtus Pro from what we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And with all of this minus armor, this Roshan will fall very, very quickly. They'll take a quick 18-minute Roshan. So not only are they already at a 10,000 gold advantage, they're already at, a almost 10,000 experience advantage. Now they get a Roshan, they get an Aegis onto that Shadow Fiend, who has his BKB. What other big items have been picked up? Anything? They have the gem on the Naga Siren, so that's really, really important, actually. They can basically take away all of Mouz's map control, force them to play very, very timid, and when they're trying desperately to farm up a Morphling who doesn't even have his Lincoln Sphere yet, I mean, if you just cut off all of, basically all of someone's map vision at the 18, 19-minute mark when they're trying to farm a Morphling, it's really going to cripple Mouz's ability to get anything done in the late game.
All right, well,
looks like Link wants to push up this top lane, but does he have a replicate anywhere? He doesn't, actually.
It's not as bad as it seems for Morphling. He at least has the ultimate orb on the courier. Because I looked at it, I was just like, how does he only have 500 gold?
So
but yeah, you're right.
So he has another 800 gold.
Still.
That's, 20, 21-minute Lincolns. It's not bad, don't get me wrong.
But it's not
you need another item
good.
Beyond your Lincolns to actually do anything.
Right.
Your Lincolns is just your, I'm not going to die quite as much.
Yeah. The biggest problem, I think, right now is really the experience. If you look at press E and look at the hero chart, you see just a huge sort of upward float of the red heroes, and the supports, Shen, Crystal Maiden, Elder Titan, 2 level 8s and a level 9, they're just so squishy. They just don't have enough compared to the supports of Virtus Pro, and that's a big difference. Whereas you've got this Rasta who's now level 11. These Serpent Wards do a ton of damage. He's also got a Blink for that initiation. That's where the big difference is coming in, I think. And with the Serpent Wards down, that's going to be an easy tier 3 tower kill down here in the bottom lane, knocking on the front door of Mouz. Their melee rack's going to start taking a bit of damage here. We see Mouz playing this very cautiously. Morphling did manage to take out that tier 2 tower in the top lane, so at least trying to find a little bit of a positive engage here. Their melee racks fall. Mouz need to initiate this soon. Well, actually, maybe they don't. They already lost the rack, so if they're not going to do it, they might as well just back up. Invoker going to get swapped, killed, instant buyback. That's the easiest kill Virtus Pro are going to find all game, I think. Invoker just melted, and the easiest... that buyback, very questionable, if you ask me. That's exactly what Virtus Pro was hoping for. As soon as that buyback came, you saw they all just kind of giggled amongst themselves and backed up like a couple of schoolgirls at the playground, Just, oh, you bought back. All right, let's just back up, make him waste his gold. Now he can't farm. And that's it. Bottom lane of racks down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it comes down to not only did they get a lane of racks, not only did they get the Invoker killed, they forced him to delay his items pretty significantly. He's sitting on just the Force Staff and the Midas at 20 minutes. He's got about 700 gold. You'd hope he would have a little bit more of something by this point, no matter what he's trying to go for. Maybe he wants to go the Yule's build to help pick off squishies. Maybe he wants to go for a more for the Aghanim's build so he can rotate his spells faster. I would personally go for the Ags on him because there's so much team fighting going on. He wants to go for something that's going to let him be more effective in those fights instead of something that's going to let him get pickoffs like a Yule's would. But at the same time, the Yules can be pretty good defensively. It's really, generally a matter of preference, but the Ags will let you get off maybe 2 or 3 more spells in the space of a single team fight than the as opposed to the Yules, which is basically, I can insta-pop one person if they're alone.
Yeah, this is sort of one of those things where Invoker is going to have to do some carrying in this game, no doubt. We sort of talked about that earlier on, and that's why he went for that early Hand of Midas. And I don't have a problem with Force Staff first, but it's sort of like Bloodseeker. It's like if you're forced to get Force Staff first, that means you're giving up that slot for a purely utilitarian item. And
I disagree on Invoker.
No?
I think Force Staff is 100% core on Invoker.
Core
I don't
have
think
to
you
get
can go without it.
No doubt. Okay. All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough here. Well, and point in case right there, the Force Staff is what kept him alive. So I will concede to your intelligence on that one, my friend. He's
so slow, and he has so much of a positioning requirement. You need some sort of positioning aid. And the Force Staff, you having the extra mana, having the HP regen when you're not quassing up is really, really important.
Okay.
You can't skip Force Staff on Invoker.
Fine. I'll change the argument. Still a core item, but unfortunate here because Mouz needs they need some punch. They need some damage to bring this back, and Force Staff is one thing that will not help you with in terms of giving you some extra damage. I guess you could argue if he's surviving, then he can get another rotation of spells off. But
well, he's got he's got the 7 points in Exhort, so he's got most
Hits
of his
pretty
damage
hard,
spells. Like
yeah.
his Meteor is going to do a crap load of damage.
That's true.
But the problem is the BKB is up on God. The Venge actually has 1600 life, and the mech. Don't forget the mech. There's the Bloodstone and a Cloak up on Light of Heaven. So a lot of these heroes, there's a Vitality booster. It looks like Naga Siren might be getting a late Vanguard at this point. Because, and oh my gosh,
I don't know what he's doing with that. It's an interesting choice.
There is the Meteor and the Tornado. The Earth Splitter is only going to catch NS. Not a whole lot of damage being done there. A lot of people just kind of avoided that that Meteor. The mech was popped, so that this damage isn't going to be healed up anymore. The Astral Spirit's going to try and check people out, but VP is just going to fall back. They're in no rush to force this.
Yeah, and I mean, they absolutely don't need to be. The Aegis is going to get reclaimed here in just about a minute, so this is actually a good time for Virtus.pro to fight. They're taking a lot of damage here, but they are going to be able to catch Cinder in. He's going to get sheeped. Again, compliments of that Shadow Shaman Hex right there. That will be the first kill of this engage. Now Ace taking a lot of damage. I think he may be destined to fall right here. His teammates all headed back to the base. No, Ace actually going to be able to survive. The follow-up not going to be there. Virtus.pro played that maybe a little bit more cautiously than they needed to, but they are all very low on HP and do want to be a little bit careful not to get overzealous. They're going to use the mech. That's going to give them a little bit of extra sustain here, and they are going to push into the base. This tier 3 tower taking a lot of damage. There is a glyph available for Mouz, so they should be able to hold this, or at the very least delay for a while. The glyph is indeed going to be used. Tower still alive with about 300 hit points to spare, but Shen's creeps unfortunately going to pay the ultimate price right there. Naga gonna blow the ulti, gonna stop Morphling from coming in to make something happen, and that is gonna be a very defensive Naga ult, but will allow everyone from Virtus.pro to get back to safety. So I think a very warranted Song of the Siren right there. Again, a glance at the gold graphs here, about 16,000 gold, 14,000 experience lead for Virtus.pro here at the 24-minute mark, 18-7. They've got command of this game. The tower count is comparable. I believe the total count is 7-3 right now. So a huge tower advantage amongst everything else. And it looks like Morphling does have Ghost Scepter. So, well, a step in the right direction for some shotgun action, but...
At this point, though, I mean, look at how tanky everyone is on VP. Like, even the Shadow Shaman's going for an Aghanims, and he's actually only like 300 gold off of that. So that's going to be huge. It looks like we might have Light of Heaven going down up here in the top lane. 4 heroes going to converge on him, try and take him down. The Chakram does almost take out Ace, though. Like, that's
look at how much
tanky
damage that was.
Light of Heaven is. He almost killed Ace with 4 heroes beating on him.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, and then you have the Venge has 1,700 life. The Shadow Shaman's going to have maybe 1,400. The Naga has 1,200. And then the Shadow Fiend has 1,350 and a BKB. So you can get that shotgun going, but unless you're going to go, like, super, super full agility to the point where if you get any sort of retaliation damage, you're dead, or if there's anyone else there, like, ready to go on you, you're just going to die, you're not actually going to be able to shotgun anyone down. And if you're at the point where you can't shotgun a support when you get your E-Blade, you're in serious trouble. And Cinderin just gets swapped, stunned, and annihilated by a couple of Shadow Raises right outside our tier 3 tower from Mouz in this middle lane. Yeah,
they juiced him, dude. So they're going to go straight forward here. Rasta Ward's going to come out. That'll be the end of the tier 3 tower in the mid lane. The melee rack's going to start taking some pressure. Kind of undoubtedly going to fall here, I think. The only thing that VP need to be a little careful about... Oh, never mind. They do have the Song of the Siren back up already. Naga is level 11. It is level 2. Does help with that cooldown, but this is another one of these situations where Mouz need to make something happen sooner. They're going to lose their racks, not going to be able to defend it. Those Serpent Wards doing a bit too much damage. Melee racks are down. Still no one dead in this fight, except for the Crystal Maiden that did fall. Earth Splitter going to come. I don't think it connected with anyone. Totally off the mark. Very unfortunate. So with that, Virtus.pro just going to be able to slow siege. Again, they're going to take the tier 3 tower, going to take the melee racks. They'll leave the range standing. They don't even want them. And they're just going to back out. While all that was happening, the creeps from the bottom did take out that set of remaining ranged racks as well. So a very positive fight for them. I mean, Mouz, what could they do? They couldn't defend it. They basically just had to stand there and watch their racks fall. If they had hopped in, Naga just would have ulted. They could have gotten the reset, and it would have been a clean wipe. So, I don't know. I don't want to call it too early, but put a knife in me. I think I'm done.
It's looking pretty grim.
Yeah.
It's almost a 20,000 gold advantage, almost a 15,000 experience advantage for VP. And like I said, even though this Morphling, he's definitely the hardest carry in the game, but he's going up against a couple of, like, basically a Shadow Fiend carry and a sort of pseudo Venge carry. She is now going into a more carry build. She's got a Dom Helm and a Manta style. She just wanted to get that quick mech because she was getting such good farm, I guess. And I mean, you can never discount the Timbersaw, who now has a Hood of Defiance. There's no way you're going to get any sort of decent damage on him with a shotgun. And you're still 1,800 gold from the shotgun, which is what you're going for. You're committed to going for it with that Ghost Scepter. You can't, like, go back and say, oh, crap, I want to go Manta now. You bought a Ghost Scepter.
Yeah.
So it's just...
True.
And at this point, people aren't squishy enough to take advantage of it. You're getting it too late. The supports have too much gold from all the kills they've picked up. I mean, look at how farmed these supports are. If you look at the net worth chart, I mean, there's... Oh, my gosh. Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous. And it looks like ours are almost going to go down to a Sunstrike. Link going to replicate in and actually manage to finish him off. So that's a kill coming in for that Morphling.
Yeah.
Very, very valuable. The Chakram going to come out from Light of Heaven, try to chase people away. He's going to go in with that Timber Chain. Synderen just going to try to get away. It looks like Virtus Pro not going to commit quite too hard to this.
Yeah, this is kind of a chaotic exchange right here. They're focusing on the Chen creeps more than the heroes. Now Venge going to be able to finish off the Crystal Maiden. They're going to go back in. Elder Titan just going to get dropped by the forces of Virtus Pro. A nice combination there from Invoker. The Tornado into a Meteor, but unfortunately just not going to be the damage they need. Now this Morphling just in big trouble. He's trying to micro around, but nowhere to go. He's going to fall, and yeah, it's a 1-for-3 exchange in this fight. Crit on the Invoker is going to be able to get a Shadow Walk off, but there it is. Mouz just going to GG out. Link says GG. He disconnects, and that's going to be it. That's all she wrote. Virtus Pro with a very convincing game number 3 here for this pretty epic best-of-3 series, 9-23 after 28 minutes of gameplay. Virtus Pro looking hot in game number 3 right there, Hippie. Very well executed.
Yeah, absolutely. And they came in, they were firing on all cylinders, and they just won. I mean, there was no real question as to who was in control of this game in my mind.
Yeah.
That's really all I can say. They dominated the top lane. They did pretty well in the other lanes, and then they took control of the mid game very, very thoroughly.
Yeah.